In Russia, the effects of systemic, political, and economic transition lay the groundwork for a widespread and efficient human trafficking network. Globalization provided the resources necessary to make it successful.
The fall of the Berlin Wall on November 9, 1989, signaled the end of the Cold War and a dramatic shift in the course of Russian history. As the Soviet Union collapsed, so did the Russian economic and political structure, resulting in financial and social chaos.
So one of the consequences of globalization for Russia and the whole of the former Soviet Union was that the country was transformed from one of the most equal societies on earth to one of the most unequal societies on earth.
As poverty and unemployment skyrocketed, so did crime. Criminal organizations prospered through the sale of drugs, firearms, and people. Daily life involved encounters with corruption, extortion, and violent displays of power among Russian crime groups. The economic turmoil created a large population of people vulnerable to exploitation.
As the former Soviet Union was collapsing, the rest of the world was also undergoing dramatic restructuring. New global networks of trade, financial investment, and information sharing shrank the global community. Developing countries, including Russia and former Soviet states, were encouraged to embrace capitalism and enter the global marketplace. International trade agreements increased export and import activities tenfold. People and goods can now move across borders with freedom not seen in 100 years. Criminal organizations all over the world seized an opportunity. Throughout the world, means of transportation, location of smuggling operations, and types of commodities being smuggled were expanding. In this new globalized economy, criminal institutions became some of the most successful transnational organizations of the developing world. Cooperation between criminal organizations also improved. Russian crime syndicates brokered deals with those of China, Colombia, and Italy. Drugs imported to Russia from Afghanistan were distributed throughout the United States, Argentina, Western Europe, and the Caribbean. High profits and high levels of consumer demand drove Russian crime organizations to the sale of humans and earned them millions for their efforts.
Human trafficking is one of the oldest crimes in the world. Poverty, war, and the global movement of people across borders has worsened the problem in recent decades. The collapse of communism in the former Soviet Union created an environment in which human trafficking could flourish. Facing unemployment, starvation, or homelessness, many women were increasingly susceptible to entrapment by traffickers. In order to traffic a person, there must be someone to lure them in, arrange transport, falsify documents, negotiate sale upon arrival, and security to ensure no one escapes. Given their new international crime network, Russian criminal organizations could achieve all of this with ease. Advancements in technology, including faster transportation, the internet, and cellular telephones, made it simple to communicate with traffickers in other countries or continents.
Conditions as a forced laborer or sex slave are consistently horrible. Women and men are held in despicable conditions, often denied proper food, medications, and freedom. Many women in the sex industry experience trauma and high rates of sexually transmitted infections. Frequent physical abuse can result in broken bones, cuts, concussions, and burns. The sheer scope of the problem of human trafficking has huge implications for public health. The physical and psychological effects of being a victim of human trafficking include infections, HIV and AIDS, depression, malnutrition, post-traumatic stress disorder, neurological problems, and reproductive problems as a result of unsafe abortions. Drug and alcohol use, sometimes forced, sometimes a coping mechanism, can result in HIV infection or overdose.
There are many organizations dedicated to ending human trafficking, but they face insurmountable obstacles. Criminal networks are globalized, yet some countries where trafficking is common don't even have a police task force dedicated to the problem. The United Nations Office on Drugs and Crimes, or UNODC, coordinates global efforts to end trafficking and publishes in-depth reports to help local offices fight organized crime in their home countries. Some of the benefits of globalization can help to stop human trafficking. Security agencies can easily exchange information on criminal organizations, and technology can spread helpful information about how to avoid traffickers and false job advertisements. The effects of human trafficking have a deep, long-term effect on society and the individual. Therefore, the best solution is prevention. Combating human trafficking requires more than women's resilience. It requires that societies invest in women on a fundamental level.